What is going on, guys? JD from New York here. WWE News and Rumors for your week ending November 10th, 2013. And like I always say, fuck those other guys. Fuck those other guys. This is your number one source for all your WWE needs right here on YouTube. And before I begin, there's two things I want to talk about. Number one, the reason why I did not do a Monday Night Raw review, and you guys have been hounding me. JD, where is the Monday Night Raw review? JD, we love your thoughts and opinions on Monday Night Raw. We look forward to your Raw review every week. And yes, I honestly appreciate all that stuff. You know, I appreciate all those comments and compliments. I appreciate all that, guys. I know. And I love you too. But you got to understand. Number one, Raw sucked. Okay, Raw was awful. Number two, this week was a massive week for Call of Duty. This is a Call of Duty channel, okay? The majority of my content is Call of Duty, and then I try to mix in other gameplay, and then I try to mix in wrestling. I'm trying to do, you know, a bunch of shit on this channel. It's not easy, okay? And this week, Call of Duty took up the majority of my time. I played hours upon hours upon hours of Call of Duty Ghosts this week with my guys. I have to learn the game. I got to get the game right. I got to do tips and tricks. I got to do gun reviews. I got to do live comms. I got to get everything ready for Call of Duty. So, obviously, I'm thankful that Monday Night Raw was a bad show. I'm thankful that Monday Night Raw was such a bad show that I'm like, you know what? I'm not even going to review it this week. Now, I barely watched it because I had to get ready for the midnight release of Call of Duty Ghosts. That's why you didn't get a Monday Night Raw review. Now, secondly, Sean's View Entertainment actually reached out to me again. And I love Sean. I love his content. I love his channel. Okay, and I hope he's listening. And Sean, if you're listening, present yourself down in the comments. Let me know that you were here. All right, but he messaged me and told me, or said to me something along the lines of some of his subscribers or followers, commented about me saying "fuck those other guys" in my introduction to all my WWE videos, and if it had to do with him, they said that, or these people were starting rumors or bullshit. I don't know what the fuck these guys were talking about, but. He commented me saying that they said that I meant him in that, where I say, fuck those other guys. I'm like, no, I don't mean you. I watch your channel every day. You're one of the guys I enjoy listening to. I don't know who else does what I'm doing on here. I don't know who else is doing what Sean is doing on here. I just don't, and I don't care. I am high, and I am confident in my abilities to bring you WWE news and rumors every week with a valid thought and opinion behind it, not some half-ass bullshit that some fucking 13-year-old child is gonna do. I'm not for that, and I'm not for drama. I'm here for one thing and one thing only: to entertain, to game, and give you WWE news and rumors. That's it. And I do Call of Duty and all this other bullshit. I'm here to entertain. I'm not here to start drama. So Sean, if you're listening, it has absolutely nothing to do with you. I enjoy your channel. I enjoy your content. I watch you on an everyday basis. Okay, just leave it at that. And like I said, I don't know who else is doing what I'm doing on here, but I believe, that I'm a better speaker than most of the people that do this. I'm a better, WWE, personality, if you want to say that. I give the news better than a lot of people do. Okay? I'm very confident in my abilities to relay the news to you guys. I'm very confident in my abilities to give you a thought and opinion behind that. Sean has nothing to do with that. When I say fuck those other guys, number one, I'm trying to be entertaining and sarcastic. Number two, I honestly mean that. I don't know who else is on here. I haven't even researched who does what I do on here. I haven't researched, what Sean does on here. I don't know anyone besides us two that's doing the shit that we're doing on here. So it has nothing to do with him. So, Sean, if you're listening, it has nothing to do with you, buddy. Don't worry about it. Let the bullshitters talk. Let me do what I do. You do what you do. And hopefully we'll work together someday, all right? But anyway, enough of the bullshit. WWE News and Rumors. I'm going to start off with a very, very sad but truthful story, because we all know the WWE is full of shit. And this is something I did not want to read today. Okay, it's Friday night, and this is something I didn't want to be reporting to you guys, but Daniel Bryan's future as, WWE champion, or potential future as WWE champion, may be coming to a close, okay? The WWE, has it in for Daniel Bryan. I don't know why, and I don't know why. The report says that, or Mike Johnson of the PW Insider, is reporting that Daniel Bryan's run at the top as a top-level superstar or main eventer in the WWE might be coming to an end as he's taking some of the blame for the low buy rates during his short run in that position. The feeling in WWE is that Daniel Bryan simply isn't a larger-than-life character. He's not a larger-than-life character that fans are ultimately going to be looking for. And that his best position right now is in the mid-card, having great matches. To the contrary, however, the Big Show's recent push is reportedly a result of WWE wanting bigger guys back in the spotlight. It's the reason he has moved back into the main event program with Randy Orton and the McMahons, and why guys like Luke Harper and Great Khali have been given more TV time as of late. Now, this story pisses me the fuck off as a wrestling fan. Number one, Daniel Bryan has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with the low buy rates, with the low ratings, okay? Number one, your fucking program sucks dick on a weekly fucking basis. You'll show a glimmer of hope here and there, you know, but ultimately your product fucking sucks. And I'm being completely fucking honest with you, and I'm kind of in a bad mood because I had a bad day. I got some unfortunate news I really don't want to talk about, but WWE programming honestly fucking sucks on a week-to-week basis. Just take Monday Night Raw, for example, this past week. Absolutely nothing outside of Daniel Bryan and CM Punk with the Wyatts was even remotely entertaining. Now, Daniel Bryan is exactly what fans like me, and I'm sure most of you, are looking for when they think of a WWE superstar. I do not want to see the Big Show in the main event. I don't want to see the Big Show fighting for a WWE championship. His time has come. He's not 27 years old anymore, okay? He's a fucking waste. He's taking up roster space right now, and he should be given a position of putting younger guys over. Plain and simple. Okay, Luke Harper is going to be a major player. Eric Rowan, they're eventually going to be tag team champions. So, you know, him I don't mind. Great Khali doesn't even belong on anyone's fucking television on Monday nights. Plain and simple. Okay? The WWE wants to go back to the larger-than-life character. Listen, wrestling isn't about characters anymore. It's not about characters anymore. It's about the best wrestler. Okay? We're talking about wrestling. You built up all the smaller guys. You built up CM Punk. You built up Daniel Bryan for what? To ultimately tell the fans, fuck you? Daniel Bryan is not the one we want representing our company? Are you fucking kidding me? You did it with Jeff Hardy. You gave Jeff Hardy the WWE Championship for the first time when he was still in the WWE. Why? Because he was the most popular wrestler in the company. You're not going to find anyone more popular right now than Daniel Bryan. That alone, he deserves the WWE Championship. It's not his fault for the fucking suffering ratings. It's the fucking creative writers rewriting the script over and over and over again on a weekly basis with no fucking direction. You're barely going to get yourself to WrestleMania, and then you're going to have a repeat of this year with WrestleMania 29. That's exactly where they're going. This authority storyline right now, Big Show, Randy Orton, completely has lost my interest. Why? Because Daniel Bryan is not involved anymore. My focus has shifted to Daniel Bryan and CM Punk now versus the Wyatts. The authority storyline is over. I don't care anymore. I do not care anymore. The ultimate fucking ending to that is going to be Triple H versus Big Show. That's it. We all know this. But Daniel Bryan is not to blame for the buy rates for SummerSlam. He's not to blame for the low ratings. He's not. You don't blame that on him. You blame that on yourself. For the fucking creative writers and the lackluster fucking programming. And the pay-per-views. The pay-per-views that have gone on month after month after month for the last 4 months. Are you fucking kidding me? Every pay-per-view. You had 3 pay-per-views in a span of 8 weeks. You're telling me you're going to blame that on Daniel Bryan? You're telling me you're going to blame that on Daniel Bryan when all those pay-per-views were built around one fucking match? Most of the time involving him? Who gave the best match of the night almost on every fucking show leading up to those pay-per-views? Absolutely fucking sickening report. Fuck you, WWE. If you're not giving Daniel Bryan the WWE Championship, then you're doing the wrong fucking thing. And you're disrespecting him for all the hard work that he's done. Plain and simple. And that's my fucking rant. Next we have Vince McMahon news. Now, Vince McMahon was reported to be returning several times over the past few months. Word now is that his return was always planned for January 2014, and they did not want to bring him back early, but figured they would have to in order to bump ratings during football season when things really started to dip. Now, with John Cena back, Vince may be kept off TV for the rest of the year. At this point, I don't even care. I don't really care. You got John Cena back, put the fucking load on his shoulders, let him do what he always does, bore us to death, and I don't really give a shit. Okay, Vince is going to be back regardless. It's always exciting when Vince is on TV because of the character that he portrays, you know? And I'm going to be interested to see who he gets to stand in the ring to represent him at WrestleMania going against Triple H, because, again, that's all we know that storyline is going. That's where that storyline is headed to, okay? But until then, I don't give a shit. Like I said, this Authority storyline completely lost my interest. WWE officials are trying to get members of the world champion Boston Red Sox to appear at the Survivor Series pay-per-view in Boston, possibly in John Cena's corner as he defends the World Heavyweight title. Speaking of John Cena, he and Randy Orton, now listen to this, I don't know if you guys are going to be happy with this one. He and Randy Orton are expected to be champions, booked about equally from now through at least Elimination Chamber and probably through WrestleMania 30. Take that with a grain of salt, but to comment on the first report there, the world champion Boston Red Sox are going to appear in Boston in John Cena's corner as he defends the world championship against Alberto Del Rio. Who's going to win that one? Let me guess. Alberto Del Rio is going to walk out of Boston, the new world champion, with the Boston Red Sox in John Cena's corner. Give me a fucking break, will you? Can you make it any more fucking predictable? And John Cena and Randy Orton are expected to be champions into WrestleMania? I mean, how boring can WWE programming get? I mean, really. You gotta spice it up. So you're telling me Damian Sandow it just wasted his money in the bank and he's not going to be given a world title reign until possibly the end of next year? Really? What are you gonna do with him? Are you gonna build him up? You're gonna give him some marquee wins? You're gonna build him up as a potential threat to the world championship anytime soon? What about Randy Orton? Who does Randy Orton have to fight for the WWE Championship? Are we going to suffer through a Big Show feud with Randy Orton for 5 months? Who are you going to get him to defend the title against? There's nobody else but Daniel Bryan or CM Punk right now. Nobody. And I honestly think that either Daniel Bryan or CM Punk have to win the Royal Rumble. There's no way Daniel Bryan or CM Punk are not going to be involved in the World Championship picture. There's no way. But I know, for a fact, as a wrestling fan, I don't want to be bored to tears on every fucking pay-per-view until the Royal Rumble or WrestleMania, Elimination Chamber, whatever, with fucking Randy Orton and Big Show. I just don't want to see it. That's bad for business. I don't want to see it. WrestleMania 30 plans. This is big. Officials have been focusing on WrestleMania 30 plans and reportedly have working plans for most of the top names, including Triple H, John Cena, Ryback, Daniel Bryan, Randy Orton, and The Undertaker, among a few others. While several months ago they wanted to do Steve Austin versus Triple H for control of the WWE, with Austin representing Vince, it looks like that match will not be happening. Word is that WWE officials are looking at The Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar, Ryback versus Goldberg, if that works out, Cody Rhodes versus Dustin Rhodes, and CM Punk versus Randy Orton for the WWE Championship. Who John Cena faces for the world title remains to be seen. Regarding Orton versus Punk, Punk at one point was going to win the Royal Rumble, which I reported back several months ago, and challenge for the WWE Championship, but there is talk now of having the winner be whoever challenges for the world title instead. As noted, there has been talk of also doing a champion versus champion main event for WrestleMania 30. So, if it's champion versus champion, get this. It would be Randy Orton versus John Cena, and I would pretty much be bored to tears with yet another WrestleMania main event. I do not want to see it. Also, if it's champion versus champion, and someone wins the Royal Rumble, how are they going to work around that? So you're going to take all the prestige away from the Royal Rumble? The Royal Rumble is really set, for the guy who goes in, eliminates 29 other men, withstands 29 other men, lasts 1 hour, and gets a WWE Championship match. He doesn't get anything else at WrestleMania. He gets a WWE Championship match, and he gets thrown into the main event at WrestleMania, without question. That's what the Royal Rumble is supposed to do. It's supposed to bring up somebody from the mid-card, elevate him to the main event, and create yet another superstar. That's what WWE has failed to do over the past couple of years. Failed to do. Now the Royal Rumble seems to just be something to just build a storyline around, give it to another top-level guy who doesn't deserve it, and then he goes on to WrestleMania. It doesn't work like that. If CM Punk wins the Royal Rumble, I want it to be against Daniel Bryan. That's what's going to be best for business. I honestly think Punk should be champion going into WrestleMania and Daniel Bryan win the Royal Rumble. And then you have CM Punk versus Daniel Bryan. And if I was in control, I would book it in a 60-minute Iron Man match. Plain and simple. You want WrestleMania to be the biggest of all time, the best show ever, the best show on the planet, give it to those two guys. 1 hour. Who's the best in the world? Can you imagine the fucking reaction from the crowd? Can you imagine the reaction from the internet wrestling community? Daniel Bryan versus CM Punk for the WWE Championship in a 60-minute Iron Man match. Build it around who is the best in the world. What are you going to replace that with? You can't top that. You can't top that. What are you going to put? Yeah, John Cena versus Randy Orton for the WWE Championship. Champion versus champion. Really? How many fucking times have we seen that? Granted, they were decent matches. Granted, we haven't seen it in a while, but really? You're going to put Randy Orton versus John Cena for the WWE Championship? Title versus title? Who the fuck wants to see that? Maybe if you're 7 years old. I don't. I'm a grown man. I want to see two wrestlers in the ring fighting it out for the biggest prize in the company. Swear to God, I wish I could start a petition to get me on the fucking creative team. I really do. Put me as head of creative. Let me take over Stephanie McMahon's job and ideas. Fuck them. Just put me in there. I'll fucking turn the entire shit upside down and give you fucking quality television. They got so much talent back there wasting away. I turn that shit upside down like a fucking tornado. I'm fucking pissed, man. I'm fucking pissed. I hate this shit. As a wrestling fan, it sucks to hear this shit and to read this shit. And I gotta read it back to you guys. This is all fucking garbage to me. WrestleMania again is looking like a 2-match fucking pay-per-view from what I'm reading. You know, I don't even want to see Punk versus Orton. I don't. Rhodes versus Rhodes and The Undertaker versus Brock. That's it. And then if you got Steve Austin or HBK, I don't know, man. They're all over the place. They can't even book fucking Monday Night Raw. They're worrying about WrestleMania. Give me a break. Fucking bullshit. Next, we got WWE. WWE and Goldberg may have had some serious negotiations in the past, but as of right now, they are cold. You know, they have not had any serious negotiations as of right now, this present day. And that's for a match against Ryback at WrestleMania 30. WWE officials do want Goldberg versus Ryback. They want that match to happen. If it doesn't work out, the other plan for Ryback at the biggest show of the year is a match against The Big Show. Yawn. I do not want to see that either. If Goldberg does agree to do a match with Ryback, then Ryback versus Big Show will take place earlier, possibly at Elimination Chamber. The anticipated Triple H versus Big Show match, which we all know is coming, like I already said, is scheduled to take place between December's TLC pay-per-view and the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view event in February. WWE officials have been in talks with Devon Dudley, one of the Dudley brothers, about coming back to the WWE and working at the WWE Performance Center as an NXT trainer. Part of the WWE being interested in bringing Devon in is because of his experience from co-owning the Team 3D Wrestling Academy. There is always talk that the Dudleys wouldn't be welcome back to the WWE, but it's really Bully Ray that has heat with Triple H. Devon is seen as somebody that is generally well-liked. Triple H is not opposed to bringing in Devon as a trainer, and Devon has reportedly told friends that he has no interest in returning to TNA, and he's believed to be interested in working again for the WWE. Now, I would love to see Bully Ray back in the WWE, period. I would love to see the Dudleys get one more shot back in the WWE as a tag team. But either way, listen, if Devon wants to train, if they want to bring him in as a trainer and that's what he wants to do, that's great. Ultimately, I would love to see both the Dudley guys back in the WWE. I would love to see Bully Ray on the WWE roster. I think his character in TNA is great. He built a nice name for himself, but we all know what Vince thinks about talent that went over to TNA to succeed and be a main event star. They come back over to the WWE. They don't see them in the same light as we may do. Vince is is harsh. He's a harsh guy from what I read, and he did the same thing with Christian. And eventually he gave Christian a world championship reign, but it's not the same. It's just not the same. Now, world champion John Cena. Listen to this. He was heavily put over by WWE officials and other superstars backstage for his return at Hell in a Cell, and then again for his performance on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. One observer labeled Cena as superhuman and said regardless of his position and favoritism from Vince, there is no way you can't respect someone willing and able to work at such a high level just a few months from having surgery to repair a serious injury. Now, listen, I respect John Cena to the fullest. I know what he goes through. I know what he does on a week-to-week basis. We see it in the ring. The man, I've always said, never puts on a bad match. He never puts on a bad match. He may not be the fucking greatest wrestler in the world, but you gotta respect his work ethic. You gotta respect what he does for the company. You gotta respect what he does for, the charities and all that. That's what you gotta respect John Cena about. The fact that he's shoved down our throats, like I remember Hulk Hogan was when we were small. I don't like that aspect of it. You gotta share the spotlight. This company isn't about one guy. It's about a fucking group of guys making the company better and better on a week-to-week basis. It's not about one guy. I don't like all the spotlight being on John Cena all the time, especially when he came back from surgery. I don't like the way that they disrespected Damien Sandow in the way that they did. All because he's Damien Sandow and he's not John Cena. It's bullshit. But, I obviously respect John Cena and the work he does. I just don't like the simple fact that he's shoved down our throats on a week-to-week basis, and I'm pretty sure everybody listening to me can agree with that. Daniel Bryan, like I said, is indeed out of the WWE title picture after storyline reset a few Mondays back, okay, with the attack from the Wyatt family. Now, for now, there are no plans for Daniel Bryan to contend for the championship. There is at least some talk of putting some contention back on Daniel Bryan during WrestleMania season, but he is now in a program with CM Punk and the Wyatt family over the next few months. In WWE's mind, they made Bryan a star and showed the audience that he can hang with the other top superstars. The storyline is that Daniel Bryan couldn't overcome the authority, and Triple H and Stephanie now are in complete control. So later on down the line, this can and probably will be addressed again. I hope so. Daniel Bryan competing for the WWE Championship was probably the best thing on WWE TV this year. But if that's WWE's mindset, they want larger-than-life characters, they're making a huge mistake because I'm not for it. I'm pretty sure nobody wants to see Khali and the Big Show and this one and that one. Who gives a fuck about that? We want to see actual fucking action in the ring. We want to see wrestling in the ring. I don't see people jumping and fucking cheering for Big Show in the ring. It's a slow, methodical match nobody gives a fuck about. Everybody's sitting on their hands waiting for that one big spot and then a fucking victor in the end. That's all they care about. There's no fucking excitement. There's no story with those kind of guys in the ring. They come in, fucking do one move, the match is over in 5 minutes. Give me a break. That's what I don't like. I hope Daniel Bryan does get the fucking respect he deserves. I hope he gets the notoriety he deserves. I hope he gets the fucking championship opportunity he deserves. I don't want to see him just floating around in the mid-card. He's better than that. He deserves more than that. That's fucking bullshit. The original script for Monday Night Raw was reset. It had Daniel Bryan and CM Punk going at it with the Shield instead of the Wyatt family. WWE officials felt that they needed to pump up the Wyatt family to get more out of them and give Bray Wyatt something big because they are high on his character. There is a feeling that WWE went wrong with Bray Wyatt and needed to go back and they put him in a competitive program with Punk and Bryan to help get him over. That was a good idea. The Shield is kind of growing wary right now. They're kind of growing stale. And you know that there's a potential breakup looming. And we all know Ambrose is going to be a superstar. We know Roman Reigns is going to be a superstar. We know Seth Rollins is going to be a superstar. They all have incredible futures awaiting them. Now it's time for the Wyatt family to be brought into that spotlight just like the Shield were. So I hope for the best. Bray Wyatt certainly deserves a spotlight. His character is probably one of the top characters in the entire company right now, and I can't wait to see him progress and his character progress into 2014. With WWE Chairman Vince McMahon recently blaming the attractions at Summerslam being responsible for the show drawing a disappointing buy rate, a good part of the blame is going on Daniel Bryan, like I already mentioned. As we're already seeing with the Big Show vs. Randy Orton Survivor Series main event, the feeling is that Bryan is too small and too average, so there's a push to feature WWE's larger-than-life characters at the top of the card. That's not to say Daniel Bryan isn't still very highly regarded behind the scenes as a world-class worker who is extremely over, but it's unlikely we'll be seeing another WWE title reign from the Aberdeen, Washington native anytime soon. You know, there's reports all over. I took 3 reports from 3 different fucking websites, and they all gave their opinion on it. And I gave you my opinion on it. There's no need for me to fucking go into it anymore. I'm upset about it. Daniel Bryan doesn't deserve it. There has been some talk of doing a WWE title versus World Heavyweight title match at WrestleMania 30 next year. The current plan is to build the World Heavyweight title up between now and WrestleMania, which is why John Cena won it from Alberto Del Rio. So there you go. The reason why John Cena has the World Heavyweight Championship is because they want to put more spotlight on the belt, plain and simple. There are reports coming out that the Smashing Pumpkins frontman and Resistance Pro Wrestling owner Billy Corgan is a potential TNA buyer. This report wrote the following this past weekend. I heard from a second-hand source who is close to a key figure in the rumored TNA wrestling sales discussion, who has verified that the Smashing Pumpkins frontman Billy Corgan is far along in his talks to purchase the company. This source went as far as to say that he believes it is a done deal and that Corgan will buy TNA, though the source did not know what percentage Corgan will be purchasing or the specifics of the deal. The source also says that Corgan has recently made a connection to somebody very wealthy, though it is not known if this party would have anything to do with the deal. Now, Lou D'Angelelli, he's another reporter, he's confirming rumors that Billy Corgan is indeed in talks with TNA. Jason Powell of ProWrestling.net notes that Corgan was not the person he was referring to when he reported that a notable name has shown interest in purchasing the company. So, Jason Powell mentioned somebody purchasing TNA, but it was not Billy Corgan. Interesting. Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter adds that there is not much to the Corgan rumors because he wouldn't have the money needed to buy TNA and eventually maintain it. Figure4WrestlingOnline.com adds that Corgan was not the leading candidate to buy the company as of a few days ago. This is an interesting story. I'm interested to see who actually buys TNA. And ultimately, you want to know my idea? I think Vince is going to end up buying it. Vince doesn't give a fuck about the wrestlers. He don't care about the wrestlers. Maybe Sting and Kurt Angle he'll take in. But the rest of the guys, he don't give a fuck about. What he wants is the library. That's why Vince bought WCW. You think he cared about anybody working at WCW? He didn't care. All he wanted was that library. Why? Because he's going to make massive amount of money off that. He's going to do the same thing with TNA. Hopefully Vince buys it. I don't want to see TNA go out of business. I don't want to see anybody go out of business and lose their job. But listen, TNA's a fucking sinking ship. What do you want them to do? What do you want them to do? Their programming sucks. Their storylines are fucking garbage. They're all rehashed. This fucking AJ Styles storyline is the same thing that CM Punk was doing with the WWE Championship when he walked out in Chicago when he beat John Cena at Money in the Bank. It's all the same shit. It's nothing new. Aces and Eights is like fucking NWO. Give me a fucking break, man. If anybody enjoys that fucking garbage, I mean, really. And then you're going to say WWE sucks? I know WWE sucks. You're not telling me nothing I don't know already, but TNA is worse. I try to watch TNA. You know how long I last? 10 minutes before I change in Spike TV. And then I put on some fucking cooking show on Food Network, or I watch Andrew Zimmern on Travel Channel and Bizarre Foods. Give me a break, man. TNA's boring. You know? They really need a complete fucking overhaul or just shut the doors completely. That's all they need to do. There's a feeling within WWE that Curtis Axel's days as Intercontinental Champion are numbered. I seen this coming from a mile away. The Paul Heyman experiment seems to be over, and apparently WWE officials still have injury concerns with Axel. Hopefully he gets himself better, and hopefully they put him on TV a little bit more. Hopefully the crowd gets fucking behind him as a heel. Again, misdirection with WWE Creative. They don't have a concrete idea, a concrete plan for most of their guys. Unless your name is John Cena, Randy Orton, or Triple H, they don't give a fuck about you, man. They just don't. And that's sad because that's Perfect's son, and he deserves better than that. Again, his days as champion are over. I don't know who's going to get it. It'll probably be Big E. You know, they're building Big E up as this fucking big monster, this big face they want to get behind. So it'll probably be Big E. So expect that in the next coming weeks. The anticlimactic return of the Big Show on Monday's Raw was caused by a massive amount of long-term booking changes, like I already mentioned, like I always mentioned, that we've seen over the last couple of weeks. Way more than the WWE usually does. The main criticism backstage with the entire Authority storyline is that nothing has been long-term. The only thing to be seen as an inevitable probability is a feud between Triple H and Vince McMahon. Like I already said, I can fucking write these reports myself. Nothing new here to report. Now, I reported last week that the plan was for Vince McMahon to be behind the Bray Wyatt statement about the devil made him do it. Now, this is an interesting story because I know a few of you motherfuckers listening to me actually threw out the name of the guy I'm going to mention when I reported this story. And you were like, I bet this guy's going to be the devil made him do it. Watch. So, word is from this week's WWE Raw is that they are now considering having Paul Heyman be revealed as the devil. This is an idea that has gained a lot of traction over the last week or so. Now that would be interesting. Now if Vince is going to be out till January, what is that going to do for the storyline? Are they going to string this storyline along up until January when Vince makes his return to TV? Paul Heyman would be a good choice for this. He would be a good choice because listen, Axel's gone. Axel's not a Paul Heyman guy anymore. Ryback is certainly fucking finished. You know, he's not feuding with CM Punk anymore. And we had that eerie fucking promo, that eerie phone call on Monday Night Raw with Paul Heyman saying that he's going to be going away for, going to the doctors and getting checked out. You know? What was that about? Obviously, he enjoys working with Punk, and Punk enjoys working with Heyman. So, having Paul Heyman as the devil in this storyline wouldn't be such a far-fetched idea. And he did mention being the devil himself at Hell in a Cell. We'll find out as the weeks go on, but I know you guys mentioned Paul Heyman. A couple of you guys mentioned Paul Heyman, and I give you guys a round of applause for that one. Good job, guys. But honestly, I would say Vince. I don't know. Listen, I don't give a fuck where these storylines go anymore. The Authority storyline is over to me. This Wyatt, Punk, Bryan thing is the main thing on TV. That's the one thing I'm going to be focusing on right now, because obviously I enjoy those guys more than the Big Show and Randy Orton. Plain and simple. But Paul Heyman, we'll see. I would be okay with that. As of this past week, the plan to turn Roman Reigns babyface is scheduled to be a fast-tracking situation. WWE officials are looking at him as being the new young golden boy of the promotion. On Raw this past week, they did nothing past put him in a position. Let me read this right. Hold on. On Raw this week, they did nothing past put him in a position where his spear on Big Show was designed to make people pop. I gotta still get used to the fact of Roman Reigns being a face or a baby face. I don't know. He's got heel written all over him, just like I said, just like I mentioned about Big E, just like I mentioned about The Miz. You know, we'll see. I don't know. He's gonna be a superstar nonetheless, but it's ultimately up to the fans to get behind him and how the WWE, carries him through that situation. We'll see. It's going to be another one of those things where we got to be patient about. If you're a Roman Reigns fan, be patient about it. The plan last week was to do an 8-man tag match with the Wyatts and one other superstar versus CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, and 2 other superstars. But now they're going in the direction of Punk and Bryan versus Eric Rowan and Luke Harper in a tag match at this month's Survivor Series pay-per-view, though nothing has been officially booked. There's also going to be a WWE Tag Team title match at the pay-per-view with Cody Rhodes and Goldust versus Jack Swagger and Antonio Cesaro. No word yet if the Shield and the Usos will be added to that match. Tag Team division heating up, guys. I like what I'm seeing. And finally, there is no word as of yet on AJ Styles signing another contract with TNA, but it appears that he'll be working past December because of the current storyline he's involved in. The plan is to keep him off TNA TV for a few months while he defends the World Heavyweight Championship for other promotions. The Wrestling Observer newsletter that reports that there was an offer from WWE, but it was one that AJ couldn't possibly have taken because it was about 1/5 of what he's currently making with TNA. So obviously it sounds like they offered him an NXT contract or a developmental contract, which again proves that Vince McMahon really doesn't give a fuck about anybody in TNA. And AJ Styles actually took to Twitter saying that he's never had any negotiations with WWE, and please do not believe everything you hear on the internet. So that's going to be another developing story that we're going to keep our eyes on, because I know a lot of people want AJ Styles to jump ship to WWE. A lot of potential great feuds for him, and a lot of great matchups for him in WWE. But again, we'll see what happens. We'll wait till 2014 rolls around and see what AJ Styles' next move is going to be. But that is this week's news and rumors, guys. A ton of shit. This is probably the longest episode ever, 35 minutes. I hope you're still listening to me. If not, I don't know what to tell you. But I'll be back on Monday for sure this week with Monday Night Raw review, guys, on Tuesday morning. But until then, I will see you. Take care. Have a nice weekend. And then, obviously, you guys know what to do. Like, subscribe, favorite, share, all that good shit. Comment down below on what you think of this week's top stories in WWE. I'm JD. I'll talk to you later, guys. Take care.